bet. What's the secret to like making cool narrow bass, dog? Oh man, well you know it's like doing that cool ass resampling, man. You know what I'm saying? You just go over here and you make a bass, and then you know what I'm saying? You do your frequency split, and then you bounce it out, and then you try to like make a riff off of it that sounds hella tight. Let me see you over here. Get over here. Yeah, 808. Yeah, let me get my kick. Oh. Making drums is hard. Noise, tight, narrow time. Yeah! Alright. Check it out. Yeah. But hold on, man. We gotta sidechain that shit. I know how to sidechain. Check it. What are you? Alright, look, here's the thing. There's no way that digital is going to recreate the analog system, but I found a couple of workarounds that are going to be manageable in order for us to tell resampling to kick rocks. It's 2019. Dude, resampling. It gets old as shit. Alright, I have a couple of bases because we can do this both in phase plant and in Serum. By the way, thank you to Killer Arts for allowing me to do this video. However, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these patches. I'm going to try to blow through this because this is more so about not necessarily the sound itself, but about how to achieve the kind of qualities within doing pitch bends, and then we'll be on our merry way. Alright, so check it out. Here's our first bass. So what I have it set to beyond playing on a pitch here is that if I move the pitch wheel as I'm playing a note, doesn't matter what it is, it's going to oscillate faster. Now how did I achieve that? It's pretty easy. Simple thing right here is the whole note function. So in phase plant, you're going to be manipulating the note. In Serum, I'll show you how to do that whenever we get there because the matrix is a little bit different. But what I've basically done is made my wavetable or whatever and added an LFO onto a series of effects. So 3 filters here, basically doing this kind of thing. And then I'm also automating the frame as well as, that's it. Okay, so once I've finished that, what I've done is added in the note function. What that does is it basically creates a time sensitive thing to whatever pitch that you're at. So what I've automated is the hertz right here. On both of these patches, it's important that you make sure that these are on a free. You can do it in sync, it's just not quite as smooth. So I recommend that you try to experiment with that on your own. Don't take my word for it. See what happens on your own. Okay. Anything else about the patch? I've taken this sample from here, which is from the very first phase plant bass that I made, which sounds like this. And then I've just kind of added that into here as some FM stuff. It didn't really work out that well, but there's some subtlety, there's some subtlety to it. So yeah, essentially what you can be able to do, or the theory behind this, is that you can pretty much just create a riff with this LFO and then use that as your main bass. Whenever you're doing a bandpass, because this is kind of arbitrary, you can kind of pump the low end on an EQ a little bit, and that will help bring some of that back, and then compress the hell out of it. So that's it for this patch. On to the Serum patch. It sounds like this. So some relatively similar processing is actually happening. The big difference between Serum and phase plant is, for one, just the algorithms that they use, and 2, the way that, or the capabilities that the filter has. Phase plant is really cool because it has a stupid amount of effects that you can apply. However, there are a lot more filter types as far as Serum goes that you may or may not want to use. What is going on here? There is the noise oscillator that's going into, that's FMing the custom wavetable, and then that is FMing this other custom wavetable. So super quickly, what I did was I started with a sine, created a little bit of noise harmonics, and then created a square, morph, crossfade, spectral, not crossfade, spectral. And then that's pretty much that. So I'm automating the wavetable position, the FM. This is a low band, high 24 with the morph. The cutoff is set to here, and then there's also a sub. I've kind of just added my standard chain of effects, which is the hyperdimension, doing pre-distortion on here. Nothing's being automated there. Here's a notch that's being automated here. This is a signature characteristic that I do in all my basses, where I automate the frequency of the phaser, and you turn the rate down. And then this is also something that I do as well, where I automate a scoop and a peak that interact with each other somewhere in the low mids, and that helps create talking. Finally, wouldn't be a patch and serum without OTT. So that's pretty much that. So how do we get this to oscillate? What you do is you go into pitch bend. You go into your source, you go into pitch bend, which is all the way at the bottom, and then you want to set the LFO. You can set it to either one if you want. I have this on bipolar, but what you do is you turn this up to somewhere like 40, and you set the rate to really slow. So this is at 0.09 hertz. And what that allows us to do essentially is basically play this like it's a sampler. And it's pretty freaking cool. Like the patch aside, it actually sounds like it's slowing down. And that is something that's a really neat characteristic, because this is that's a soft synth. It's not doing any kind of sampling, because that's kind of the point of this video, is to freaking get the hell out of doing a bunch of resample things. Tired of it. So like, how many times have you like bounced out of bass and then you're like, yo man, this is going to be it. Oh man, this bass that I have right here is tight. And then you're like, yeah, I'm going to throw that in a track. And then you put a kick snare down, and then you try to label that, or you try to throw that in. And then you're like, oh my God, this is absolute shit. This is like the worst thing that I've ever known. The sound is cool on its own, but it's nothing without context, right? So here's a pitch that I'm going to start trying to implement for my own freaking sanity and trying to finish more music. Write your riffs in here. If it's a melodic bass line, it's kind of a different story. But before you even think about resampling, do as much work in here as you can and try to create some really neat stuff, so that way you don't have to, or instead you can just duplicate the patch and then make a variation to it. And look, I'm not saying that resampling is a horrible thing, but some people can do it really well, some people can't do it. I bounce out anything that I think that sounds cool, but at the same time, if you're not being efficient with this and you're not being able to apply the sounds that you make in your music, which is a question that I've had forever, which is a question that a lot of other people have, and keep it in MIDI until you hear it in the context of a groove already. And you can just bounce out or put out a riff like this and then make a variation of it or whatever, and use that as your source to create something inspiring. So now that I have that,
time to resample it.